and welcome everyone to LawSikho's thorough newspaper analysis for the 7th of August 2023. Now, today we have one editorial article which is titled Why Did Meta Block Canada's Access to News Reports? And which has been taken from the Hindu newspaper. Following that, for the second and the third segment of the day, we will have the news update and the legal news. Now, today's editorial article, Why Did Meta Block Canada's Access to News Report? It comes after Meta announced that it will be blocking users in Canada from posting and accessing news reports on its Facebook and Instagram platforms. This is after Canada's Online News Act came into force, which stipulated that large digital players like Big Tech, Meta, uh, by Meta I mean Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, uh, big tech players like these should pay news publishers for content that is made available on their platforms. Now, the question arises is before we actually understand why Meta chose such a drastic step, we need to first look into what Online News Act is and why it was brought into place, and if any other, country has a similar act in place or not. Now, in the words of the Canadian government itself, the legislation requires the digital platforms that make news available and have a strategic market dominance bargain fairly in good faith with Canadian new businesses for the use of their news contents on their services. Now, this would make Google and Meta enter into compensation agreements with authorized news publishers. The bargaining process will be overseen by the Canadian Radio, Television, and Telecommunications Commission. So, why the act and the reaction? So, the law comes modeled after the news media and digital platforms mandatory bargain code was brought forward by Australia. Now, this is a very similar act which gives a lot of bargaining power in the hands of the media houses with respect to tech platforms like Facebook and Instagram. Now, why did Australia feel the need to bring such an act? It's because as the printed media revenues were decreasing, and this is definitely due to COVID. Once COVID happened, we stopped taking newspapers or printed media. Our customers had been moving online. We now have the Indian Express app from where we read the newspaper instead of a lot of us getting a physical copy of the paper. And customers had been moving online. Google and Meta now dominate online ad revenue and content distribution. Now, this has raised concerns about disproportionate revenue share with the news publishers. India is also on its way to draft a very similar bill, and this is basically some of the countries coming forward against, or rather forming a tech lash which curbs the powers of the big tech companies. So in February 2021, Facebook had blocked the users of Australia after the news media and digital platforms mandatory bargaining code was brought into force. But afterwards, Facebook did arrive at a sort of arrangement between their platform and the media aggregators based out of Australia. However, with regard to Canadians, Facebook has shown a very strong stance, and they are in uh, Meta has till date shown no signs of bargaining or budging from their position. Now, this is a problem because if this goes forward and Google, Facebook, Insta, they all ban news medias from their websites, the sources of information that get disseminated within the general public of Canada will be from very questionable sources. Next up, we have Assam CM Himanta Biswa Sarma launches Amrit Brikshya Andolan app. Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma launched the Department of Forests and Environment's Amrit Brikshya Andolan portal mobile application and the wood-based industry registration web portal. He also launched a theme song from the Amrit Brikshya Andolan, an initiative aimed at planting a total of 1 crore commercially viable saplings across the state by individuals from various walks of life on the coming September 17th. Saplings would be available at distribution centers that would be set up for the purpose, he said. Adding that those who registered themselves with the Amrit Brikshya Andolan app portal and upload geotagged photographs of them planting the saplings would be credited with an amount of rupees 100 in their bank account. Secondly, we have South Zone claim Deodhar trophy. South Zone's juggernaut continued as they clinched the Deodhar trophy title for the 9th time with a commanding 45-run win over East Zone in the final. After opener Rohan Kunnumal smacked a sensational 75 ball 107 to set the ball rolling for his side. There was no stopping South, who piled up 328 for 8 batting first. South's impressive bowling lineup then made life miserable for East's batters, who were bowled out for 283 in 46.1 overs. Next up, we have the Steel Minister unveils new logo of NMDC. Union Minister of Steel and Civil Aviation Shri Jyotiraditya M. Scindia unveiled the new logo of NMDC at New Delhi. The minister congratulated Team NMDC on their dynamic new logo and added that the unveiling of the logo is a seminal part of the journey of any organization, symbolizing its values and goals. The union minister said that NMDC's new logo represents how India's largest producer of iron ore is all set for mining at a global scale in sustainable and green environment. This logo communicates the responsibilities of NMDC towards mining in harmony with nature and people, towards ensuring mineral security and building mineral accountability, and towards infusing self-reliance in our sector. We also have India's first MeitY chair on AI to be set up at IIT Jodhpur. During IIT Jodhpur's Foundation Day celebrations, the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology Secretary announced the allocation of Rs 5 crore to establish the first MeitY chair on artificial intelligence at the institute. Rs 33 crore granted for setting up of the intelligent IoT for sensing application at IIT Jodhpur is already underway. Now, for the international news segment of the day, we have Pakistan approves new security pact with US. Pakistan's cabinet has quietly approved the signing of a new security pact with the US, a move that indicates fresh start in the bilateral defense cooperation after years of wilderness in ties and may open avenues for Islamabad to get military hardware from Washington. CIS-MOA is a foundational agreement that the US signs with its allies and countries which it wants to maintain close military and defense ties with. It also provides legal cover to the US Department of Defense for ensuring the sale of military equipment and hardware to other countries. Next up, we have final foreign-built Antares rocket launches with cargo for the ISS. An Antares rocket launched to the International Space Station on Tuesday marked the final flight for this vehicle as we know it. The 19th commercial resupply service mission from Northrop Grumman lifted off from NASA's Wallops flight facility, carrying a batch of cargo, provisions, and science experiments to the International Space Station. This will be the final flight for this particular model of Antares rocket, which is set to be replaced with a newer version sometime next year. Research headed to the ISS includes several material science and technology demonstrations to test Earth monitoring sensors, space antenna upgrades, and material science investigations, as well as nearly half a dozen human health focused biological investigations. These will study therapies for cardiovascular, regenerative techniques, neurological and genetic disorders, and degenerative retinal diseases. Now, for the legal updates of the day, firstly, we have allegations and complaints made in good faith to lawful authority cannot attract offence of defamation. So, Supreme Court in the case of Kishore Balkrishna Nand versus the state of Maharashtra quashed a defamation case against a man accused of making defamatory allegations in his complaint before subdivisional magistrate. It is not defamation to prefer in good faith an accusation against any person to any of those who have lawful authority over that person with regard to subject matter of accusation. The benches of Justice J.B. Pardiwala and Manoj Mishra noted. Secondly, we have magistrate has to examine witnesses named in the complaint before dismissing the complaint under Section 203 of CRPC. Now, the Supreme Court in the case of Dilip Kumar Rai versus Brajraj Srivastava observed that a magistrate who had opted to hold inquiry himself under Section 202(1) of CRPC has to consider the statements of the complainant and his witnesses before dismissing a complaint under Section 203 of CRPC. The court producing the complaint noted that the 8 witnesses were specifically named in the complaint and that the magistrate has not recorded reasons for not recording the statements of other witnesses specifically cited in the complaint. Thirdly, Lok Sabha restores Rahul Gandhi's membership after Supreme Court's order staying conviction in Modi thieves defamation case. The Lok Sabha Secretariat issued a notification restoring the membership of Congress leader Rahul Gandhi in view of Supreme Court's August 4th order, which suspended his conviction in criminal defamation case over why all thieves have Modi surname remark. The top court's order have paved the way for his reinstatement as Lok Sabha MP. Gandhi, who represents Wayanad, Kerala, in the Lok Sabha had moved the Supreme Court challenging the Gujarat High Court's refusal to stay his conviction in the case, which resulted in his disqualification from the Lok Sabha. And the same was held in the case of Rahul Gandhi versus Puranesh Ishwarbhai Modi and Anagar. So this was all for today. For free study materials and TNA PDF slides, please join our Telegram channel, the link of which you can find in the description given below, or you can always scan the barcode that is given on your screen. For further information, please contact us on support@lawsikho.in. Don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channel to stay up to date with the thorough newspaper analysis as it comes out every day. Thank you.